Silence fills the room, broken only by the hum of an old television. A modern individual sits on the floor watching an old science fiction film. The screen displays what the 2020s were supposed to look like. He sees magnificent, glowing cities, flying cars, space exploration. He sees a humanity that has conquered poverty, disease, and united for the sake of infinite potential. It was a utopia. It was a promise. Now, he pulls his eyes away from the screen and looks out the window. He turns back to the present. No flying cars, no space colonies. Instead, society received algorithms that steal attention, an economy where a person has to work multiple jobs just to survive, and screens that isolate people from one another. In this exact moment, this person feels a very strange, hard to explain ache in his chest. He feels a deep, tearing nostalgia for an era that never actually existed. Why does an old cassette player or vintage computer aesthetic calm modern humans 1,000 times more than the latest smartphone? There is one specific psychological reason why the human brain desperately seeks refuge in old technology, and this reason reveals a deeply dark truth about what has happened to modern culture. This phenomenon is called hauntology. It is a philosophy exploring the lost future that continuously haunts humanity. This narrative is an autopsy of this cultural grief. To understand this phenomenon, it is necessary to look at the work of cultural theorist Mark Fisher. He proposed a brilliant yet terrifying idea. The future has been slowly canceled. In the 20th century, humanity had a direction. Despite wars and political crises, there was a collective belief that tomorrow would be radically different and better than today. Technology was seen as a tool for liberation. Machines were supposed to do the hard labor so people could create art, explore the universe, and enjoy leisure. However, the exact opposite happened. Technology advanced, but it did not liberate society. It enslaved it. People received supercomputers in their pockets, not to uncover the secrets of the universe, but so that corporations could track their behavior, sell advertisements, and keep them plugged in a constant cycle of stress and work. The collective psyche registered this fracture. Subconsciously, mankind realized that the promise given to them in childhood had been broken. This led to a psychological response that can be called mourning for a lost future. When someone feels nostalgia for the retro futurism of the past century, that person is not longing for the clothes or old cars of that era. They are longing for that optimism. They are longing for the feeling when the future still looked like an endless, bright adventure rather than the threat of ecological and economic crisis. The human brain desperately wants to return to the point where everything still seemed possible. This explains exactly why the design of old technology has such a calming effect. Old, bulky computers, push-button phones, cassettes with their physical flaws and crackles. Psychologists state that the modern, sleek, bottomless black screen of a smartphone signals an endless ocean of demands to the human subconscious. Today, the phone is everything. A bank, a workplace, a social life, the world news center. It is a portal of anxiety with no boundaries. But old technology had limits. A cassette had a beginning and an end. An old computer was turned off and its world disappeared. These objects were tangible, mechanical, finite. When a person looks at them or listens to analog sound, they enter what can be called a digital womb. It is a safe zone, a place where technology was a tool used by humans, not a tool that used humanity. Society romanticizes this old design because it belongs to an era when the individual still felt like the master of their own life. Old machines had a soul because they were imperfect. Modern machines are perfect, and that is precisely why they are so cold and alien. Hauntology is defined not only through technology, but through the entirety of culture. One only needs to look closely to reveal a terrifying fact. Humanity has stopped creating new things. Cinema, music, fashion. The modern world is trapped in an endless loop of nostalgia. The same movies from the past are massively remade. Culture seems incapable of imagining what the future should actually look and sound like, so it simply dresses up in the clothes of the past and pretends to move forward. It is an obsession. Society is literally haunted by the ghosts of the past because the ability to imagine an original future has been lost. As the French philosopher Jacques Derrida, who coined the term hauntology, wrote, "A ghost is not what died and returned. A ghost is that which could never be born, but still demands to live." That future, that bright, exploratory, peaceful utopia that people saw in old magazines, died before it even began. And now its ghost wanders through social media feeds in the form of melancholic aesthetics. It is a collective trauma of humanity. Humanity mourns a future it was robbed of. So, what is a person to do with this feeling of loss? How does one stop being a ghost in their own present? The first step is awareness. If an individual feels disappointed with the modern world, it does not show that they are a pessimist. It shows that they are conscious. They see the difference between what society was sold and what it actually received. However, one cannot remain stuck in that loop of nostalgia. The old aesthetics and old science fiction films will not return. And even if they do, they will only be hollow, commercial copies. The only way to break free from the ghosts of the lost future is to stop waiting for it and start creating it oneself on the smallest possible scale. A person's utopia will not be a flying car. Their utopia will be unplugging themselves from algorithmic noise, rebuilding a true analog connection with the person next to them, creating a zone of peace in their own life that no corporation can reach. The future was not canceled, it simply changed shape. It now belongs to those who can see through the illusions. This channel exists for those who are not afraid to examine hidden reality, those who seek deeper answers and want to understand the mechanisms of the world. Choose to subscribe. The gaze here is directed not at the past, but at the truth. Until next time.